Hi, everyone. This is TV30. Looks like it's officially 7 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and count you in. We'll start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, welcome everyone to tonight's Monday, July 11th, 2022 virtual regular meeting of the Livermore City Council. Call the meeting to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Carling.
Here.
Councilmember Kick.
Here.
Councilmember Monroe.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bonanno.
Here.
Mayor Warner.
Here. If you could join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're now on to item 3.1, which is an update on the drought, the water conservation and new state restrictions.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Warner and members of the City Council. This is Mariana Marasheva, your City Manager, speaking. Item 3.1 will be presented by Anthony Smith, the city's Water Resources Manager. Mr. Smith?
Oh, thank you, Mariana. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. This is Anthony Smith, your Water Resources Division Manager. Tonight, I wanted to give a brief update on the drought, the city's response, and current state restrictions. Just as a quick recap of our history, back in September, Zone 7 declared a water shortage and required a 15% reduction for all its retailers. Later that month, the City Council also declared a Stage 2 water shortage with a 15% overall reduction target for our customers. And the City Council also enacted Stage 1 conservation rates at the same time to help protect revenue and encourage conservation. So right now at those cities, water shortage contingency plan Stage 2, the restrictions all have to do with the outdoor use of water for irrigation. Right now, the plan specifies a maximum of 3 days per week irrigation on an even-odd schedule. Sprinkler irrigation is only allowed between 6 p.m. and 9 a.m. on those selected days, and the washing of vehicles by hand requires the use of a positive shutoff nozzle. In addition to the city's water use restrictions, the state has also enacted 2 rounds of emergency regulations to add additional restrictions. These include not allowing runoff to occur from the irrigated area, not washing sidewalks, driveways, hardscapes with potable water, not using potable water in street cleaning or construction site prep, and not using potable water in fountains that are non-recirculating. No irrigation within 48 hours of measurable rainfall, no irrigation of turf in public street medians, and most recently, no irrigation of non-functional turf in non-residential areas. So in addition to being a water provider to our customers, the city is also a water user. And in that capacity, the city has reduced its use in order to comply with the current restrictions. Staff in the maintenance division of the Public Works Department have reduced irrigation run times to meet that 15% reduction. They continue to evaluate opportunities to minimize the use of water for irrigation and are currently planning a response to the non-functional turf irrigation ban. In its role as a provider of water, staff in the Water Resources Division have undertaken a robust public outreach and education campaign to raise awareness of water use restrictions and water saving rebates through a variety of media. We've used bill inserts, direct mailers, email newsletters, and social media to advertise these rebates, as well as the water restrictions. And we've also taken part in some Tri-Valley-wide efforts to raise awareness of the drought through print, radio, and soon some ads on Wheels buses. Since the water shortage declaration in September, staff have provided 263 conservation kits, which allow customers to reduce some of their indoor water use, 41 rebates for various programs, and are currently partnering with the City of Pleasanton and the Dublin-San Ramon Services District to open a joint residential recycled water fill station in Pleasanton. So far, overall, since the water shortage declaration, Livermore municipal water customers have conserved a total of 16% So they've been meeting the goal of 15% reduction. Now, most of the restrictions on water use, of course, have to do with outdoor irrigation. And so most of our conservation will occur in the summer. So once we get through this summer, then we'll have a better idea of where our customers did, overall. That concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. At this point, I'll open public comment on this item. Do we have anybody who wishes to address us on it?
Mayor, no comments have been received.
Okay, I'll close public comment, bring it back to the council. Councilmember Carling.
Yes, thanks. Thanks, Anthony, for that. If somebody wanted one of these water conservation kits, where would they get that?
So the easiest place to send them is to our website. So it's livermoreca.gov/drought. So you can go straight there. They can request a conservation kit, and if they happen to be a Cal Water customer, we'll direct them over to Cal Water for their rebates and related things.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Vice Mayor Bonanno.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Anthony, for that update. A couple quick questions. Can you just remind me how much of, I know you're just speaking of City of Livermore as opposed to Cal Water. Is that correct? Everything you've told us, although obviously the state regulations and restrictions apply, but the data you gave us is for City of Livermore Water Service?
That is correct, yes.
And how much of our total, can you tell me over the whole city, how much of our total usage is allocated, or not allocated, but used for landscape?
In a typical year, about roughly 60% of our potable water use is for irrigation. So obviously in times of conservation, that's going to go down a little bit, but yeah, in a typical year, it's in that 60% range.
So I guess I'd like to see at some interval, that doesn't have to be every meeting or even every other meeting, but again, I'd like to see through the next couple of months, periodic updates of this kind. And maybe you could include a monthly, rather than just the October through May in the aggregate, if you could include maybe a monthly chart that shows us sort of how we're doing month to month, that would be excellent. And also, if possible, could you include Cal Water's data as well? And my final question, I guess, is, this sounds, like a tenuous grip on it at the moment, but what can you say anything about what we're anticipating going forward? Any indication of what additional restrictions might be imposed, and just a little bit more of a forecast going forward, if you have any insights on that?
I can't speak to exactly what's going to happen in the future. What I can say is right now, as a state, from July last year until May this year, the state's really only saved about 2%. So Livermore customers are doing better than that. But with that statewide being so low, there's always the possibility of additional state restrictions would be enacted. And then the other thing that could push the city into more restrictions would be if Zone 7 in the future sees the problem getting worse and ups their target for conservation.
Okay, and do I need to ask for matters initiated later to ask for a regular update on this throughout the summer and beyond? Is that reasonable, or do I need to bring that back later?
Mayor Warner, if I may, this is Mariana Marshall, Vice Mayor. We can provide those updates to you on a monthly basis via email as well as on the website.
Okay, and I think where it seems appropriate, it would be very helpful, I think, for the public, people that might be listening, to sort of get this data as well during the meetings, if that's something that's simple enough to do.
Let's take that offline, because you're talking about an agenda item like this. So let's think about that one. Let the city manager, if we could.
Okay, very good. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just at this point, you've raised a couple of very good points with respect to the forecast, and then Mr. Smith mentioned a few things. The overall, the state is not doing well, and that's driven mostly by Southern California. The other thing is, I saw a good report on the long range forecast, and at this point, in the year, looking at things where we have a good chance of a third year drought because of what's the oscillation developing on La Nina. The bottom line is it's a serious situation, and we've all got to do everything we can to conserve. Councilmember Monroe.
So as I'm looking at my yard, which has no lawn, but does have a lot of irrigated plants and some very large trees, and I'm thinking about how to triage, I'm wondering if it's possible, first of all, and by the way, thank you very much, Mr. Smith, for a really helpful report. I really do. Having this on a regular basis to understand where we're going forward is very helpful at whatever pace makes sense. But I guess the other thing I'd like to know is, I know at some point, particularly if we go into a third year of drought, I'm going to have to find a way to let some plants go. How can we, and how can the city help me, but me representing everybody who needs to be conserving and maybe are making these triage decisions, make those decisions adequately? How can we, what are the things we can do? I mean, I know a bunch of this stuff is already on the website to ensure that we are careful with water usage that beyond the triage.
Well, the Water Resources Division is continuing to do quite a bit of outreach. So I mentioned some of there's kind of the broad messages that are going out across the Tri-Valley, and then we're also reaching out to our customers more locally. One of the things that we're starting with this week is going to be a kind of a friendly nudge to take a look at your water use for the highest residential water users. So anyone right now that's using more than 3 times the average is going to start getting a monthly postcard with both what that average is for a single family home and how much they've been using. And it contains some information on the restrictions, some information on the website and the rebates to try to kind of nudge them towards those things.
Great. And can you remind me what the average water usage is per house?
So during the summer, a single family home uses approximately 17 units, and each unit's about 748 gallons.
Thank you. All right. Here's to conservation. Thank you much.
One thing I could ask, you just referenced the average, but the goal is % reduction. So presumably somebody who's meeting the % reduction wouldn't get that?
Well, yes, in theory. What we're doing right now is we're focusing on the biggest water users compared to the entire group of customers. So they could theoretically make a 15% reduction and get a postcard, but with the being at 3 times the average for a single family home, I think it would be very unlikely.
Oh, I'm just a question. I'm just saying the goal has been stated with respect to a % reduction. This sounds like a change in the goal. Councilmember Kick.
I just wanted to check to see if any of our plans, I don't remember how many months ago it was now, it was a matters initiated for us to look at our landscaping on any of our properties to make sure that we're not using non-functional turf at all anymore. And I was told that we were going to be making progress. I'm just wondering if you have information or at what time we can potentially see an update on that, because I still see a lot of alive grass on our property.
Honorable Mayor and City Council Member Kick, we are actively this is Scott Lampier, Public Works Director. We are actively working on making sure that all of our irrigation practices are consistent with the rules that we're setting. We can bring back to you a formal report of sorts, if you like, in the future that identifies those, but we are actively taking steps and measures to make sure that we are consistent with our own policy.
Yes, I understand that. I believe the matters that was made a while ago was that we would not be keeping lawn alive that was non-functional turf, just as a policy. So I wanted to see if that was that was still something we're doing. And if I need to bring it up again, I will. So I'll take this offline to check in on that.
Okay, and yes, we are not irrigating non-useful turf, particularly in street medians.
Councilmember Monroe.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up in the change of measurement, and because I actually think that's quite significant with regard to the people who have, I mean, who we hear from, you know, saying, I did this in the previous year, and I did that in the previous year, and I did the other thing in the previous year. So I do wonder if there's, pardon me, but I'm going to say it, a both and way of looking at this, which includes reduction, you know, continuing to think about how to reduce more, but also looks at those who, you know, have not made that reduction. And then a third, so that's, you know, one is everybody can reduce more to a point. Some point maybe you can't. A second is who has not made, you know, who hasn't had who hasn't taken that advantage. And then the third piece is who is a very substantial water user regardless along the way. And it seems to me that those three, they measure three different things and all are important.
Okay, I don't see any other comments from the council. This was an informational item. So now we're on to 4.0 Citizens Forum. And City Clerk, could you explain the process for participating in tonight's meeting?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The City Council's agenda provides opportunities for the public to participate in the meeting by addressing the City Council in the following ways. For non-agendized items, the public has the opportunity during Citizens Forum to address the City Council on any item of interest that is within the City Council's subject matter jurisdiction. For agendized items, the public can address the City Council on each item of business it considers when the mayor opens public comment and should be focused on that particular item. Please note, a speaker is not required to answer any questions from the City Council, and the City Council is not required to answer questions from the public. However, the mayor has the discretion to ask staff to address a speaker's comments when a council member believes it is relevant to a particular business item. When participating in tonight's meeting, one comment may be given per person per item. To provide a comment, please use the raise hand feature or *9 if calling in when the item begins. Please do not wait until the public comment period opens for each item to raise your hand. Instead, raise your hand at the very beginning of each item. Once public comment opens, each participant's name will be announced and their 3 minutes will begin upon being unmuted. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We typically allow 30 minutes at the beginning of the meeting for public citizens forum. That would take us to 7:50, and the clerk will announce 5 minutes before then if we need to. So at this point, do we have anybody who wishes to address us on Citizens Forum?
Yes, Mayor. The first request to speak is from John Freeman, followed by Rob Seeley. John Freeman, please unmute yourself.
Great. Mayor Warner and City Council, this is John Freeman. I'm the district manager with California Water Service. I just wanted, on the last matter, Cal Water would certainly love to make a presentation to City Council or be present at the next meeting to give you an update on the conservation programs that we offer. So that's all I wanted to mention to you. Again, anytime customers want to visit www.calwater.com, there's a number of conservation programs and rebates, different things we have to offer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Rob Seeley. Please unmute yourself.
Good evening. Thank you, Council, for taking a moment to speak with us about this. Most of what I wanted to say, John kind of covered for me there. I am Rob Seeley. I am Government Relations and Community Affairs for Cal Water for the Bay Area region. So the only other thing that I would tack on to that is that we're more than happy to meet with Council as well, in person or via Zoom, to help answer any questions. We work with the city pretty frequently and are in constant communication on our efforts to communicate with customers. So happy to share any and all of that with you at your request. Thank you.
At this time, there are no more requests to speak.
Okay, I'll close the citizens forum. With the last two comments, I think it's a good opportunity to possibly satisfy Vice Mayor Bonanno's request. And perhaps at the next meeting, we could hear from Cal Water, but I'll leave that to the city manager to work with Cal Water on. So at this point, anyway, city manager, do you wish to say anything?
Honorable Mayor, yes, we will coordinate with Cal Water and get back to Vice Mayor Bonanno as well as yourself and your colleagues on the plan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we're now on to the consent calendar. And consent calendar items are considered routine in nature and acted upon by the City Council with a single action. Members of the audience wishing to provide public input must use the raised hand feature in Zoom during the public comment period to comment on any of the consent calendar items. At this point, I'll ask, would any council member like to pull an item for separate discussion? I see none. I'd like to open a public comment on the consent calendar. Is there anybody who wishes to address us on any item?
Mayor, no comments have been received.
I'll close public comment on the consent calendar. If there are no, Vice Mayor Bonanno.
I didn't give you a chance to call for it, but I was going to move the consent calendar this evening.
Sounds good. Councilmember Monroe.
And I'll second.
Great. So could we got a motion and a second for approval? Could we have a roll call, please?
Member Carly,
Aye.
Councilmember Kick,
Aye.
Councilmember Monroe,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bonanno,
Aye.
Mayor Warner.
Aye. Passes unanimously. So we're now on to item 6.1, hearing to receive and consider protests related to the delinquent service fees to Livermore Sanitation. Could we have the staff report, please?
Yes, Honorable Mayor Warner, members of the City Council, this is Mariana Marasheva, your city manager. Item 6.1 will be presented by Marisa Gann, recycling specialist. Ms. Gann?
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Mariana. Good evening, Mayor Warner and members of the City Council. Oh, shoot, I'm sorry. This is my first time giving a PowerPoint presentation.
It looks good, Marisa. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Tonight, the City Council will consider approving assessments for the non-payment of services provided by Livermore Sanitation. There are approximately 26,000 accounts serviced by Livermore Sanitation. And as of this morning, there are only 37 accounts that are more than 12 months behind on their payment, making them eligible for an assessment. These debts are from unpaid charges from fiscal year 2021. Despite repeated notifications, sorry about that. Despite repeated notifications from Livermore Sanitation, service reductions, and 2 notices from the City of Livermore, the accounts continue to be significantly overdue. Per the franchise agreement and the Livermore Municipal Code, the city is obligated to consider imposing assessments for these delinquent accounts. Customers had up until the beginning of this meeting to pay their bill and not have the property assessed. Staff continues to observe a decline in the number of assessments that are proposed this year compared to previous years. Almost 2/3 of the accounts on this year's list have been assessed in previous years, while 10% have been assessed every year of the Livermore Sanitation contract. Staff recommends that the City Council consider protests, adopt a resolution overruling protests, and confirm the 2022 assessments, directing staff to forward a finalized copy of the assessment report to the county tax assessor. Thank you for your consideration, and staff is available to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. At this point, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody who wishes to address us?
Mayor, no comments have been received.
Thank you. I'll close the public hearing on 6.1. Bring it back to the council for deliberations, questions. Is there anybody who has any questions, comments? How about a motion?
I'll move staff recommendation.
A second.
Okay, we moved and seconded. Is that sufficient? I want to make sure, with given the importance of this, have we done that properly?
Yes, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We've had the motion for approval and seconded. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Carling,
Aye.
Councilmember Kick,
Aye.
Councilmember Monroe,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bonanno,
Aye.
Mayor Warner.
Aye, that passes unanimously. We're on to 6.2, a hearing to receive and consider protests related to the non-payment of sewer service provided by the city of Livermore. We have a staff report, please.
Yes, Honorable Mayor Warner, members of the City Council, this once again is your City Manager, Mariana Marasheva. Item 6.2 will be presented by Ann Furtado, Accounting Supervisor. Ann?
Thank you, City Manager. Can everyone see my slide?
Not yet.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. My name is Ann Furtado, and I'm an Accounting Supervisor in the Finance Division of the Administrative Services Department. The City of Livermore provides wastewater services to the community that protect public health and the environment. These services include collection, treatment, and disposal of wastewater. Funding the cost of operating, maintaining, and improving Livermore's wastewater facilities relies solely on sewer service charges. Any balance not paid within 60 days of the billing date is considered delinquent. Exhibit A.
Are we, excuse me, are we supposed to see your slides at this point? Because I don't.
And we cannot see your slides. Can you try sharing them again, please?
Yes, I will.
Excellent. Now they're in front of us. Thank you.
Thank you. That's just the one slide. Exhibit A of the staff report contains a list of 12 sewer accounts that are severely delinquent for a total balance of approximately $10,000. During fiscal year 2021-22, Finance and Water Resources Division staff worked together to apply for American Rescue Plan Act funding on behalf of delinquent water and sewer customers. Water customers received $40,000 and sewer customers received $16,000. Out of the total $16,000 sewer relief funding, $4,600 was applied to 3 of the 12 accounts on the delinquent list. The delinquent charges for the remaining 9 accounts on the list did not qualify for this funding. And the funding took place during the pandemic period. That was what qualified. So March of 2020 to June of 2021. In addition to sending out monthly bills that include past due balances, finance staff also contacted customers on the list to call attention to delinquent amounts. Per Livermore Municipal Code 13.36.210, the city may enforce payments of such delinquent charges by placing them on the tax roll and collecting through property taxes. Staff sent letters to affected property owners notifying them of the city's intent to collect past due sewer charges on their property tax bill and of tonight's public hearing. Staff recommends that the City Council consider protests, adopt a resolution overruling protests, and direct staff to forward a finalized copy of the assessment list to the county tax assessor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll open the public hearing on 6.2. Is there anybody who wishes to address this?
No comments have been received.
Okay, thank you. We'll close the public hearing on 6.2. Bring it back to the council for deliberation or a motion. Vice Mayor Bonanno.
Move approval of this item.
Councilmember Monroe.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Carling,
Aye.
Councilmember Kick,
Aye.
Councilmember Monroe,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bonanno,
Aye.
Mayor Warner.
Aye. Passes unanimously. We're on to 6.3, hearing to certify the draft supplemental EIR for the South Livermore Valley specific plan. Can we have the staff report on this, please?
Yes, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, this is Mariana Marasheva, your City Manager. Item 6.3 will be presented by Senior Planner Andy Ross. Mr. Ross?
Thank you, Mariana. And can everyone see my slides okay?
We can see your slides, Mr. Ross. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor Warner and members of the City Council. So tonight's item is the South River Valley Sewer Expansion Project, as well as proposed urban growth boundary initiative. You may recall previously Council directed staff to evaluate the extension of sewer infrastructure to the South Livermore Valley, prepare the required documents in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, and prepare initiative language that would modify the urban growth boundary policies enabling sewer connection to permitted uses consistent with the county and city planning regulations in that area. So tonight, staff will present a bit of background, an overview of the project, as well as the supplemental EIR findings, and then recommend council certify the EIR and approve the initiative language. So for over 100 years, the South Livermore Valley has been known as a premier wine region and served as an important element in our community's character, heritage, and local economy. Throughout that time, the valley has endured many challenges to wine production, including prohibition, grapevine diseases, and urbanization. In response, Alameda County and the city of Livermore initiated comprehensive planning programs to protect agriculture and open space within the valley and balance that preservation with limited urban and wine country development. These programs included Alameda County's South Livermore Valley Area Plan and the city's South Livermore Valley Specific Plan as the urban complement to the area plan. Both planning documents established land use regulations in areas suitable for urban development, protected viticultural resources, promoted wine production, and established mitigation for agriculture and planting requirements. In November of 2000, Alameda County voters passed Measure D. This established a county urban growth boundary that restricted subdivision in eastern Alameda County, but it did not supersede or change the provisions of the area plan. In March of 2000, Livermore voters passed Measure K, which established the South Livermore urban growth boundary. And in February 2004, Measure K was incorporated into Livermore's general plan, which is the leading policy document for the city. However, despite all these planning efforts and preservation actions, the improvement of wine country properties consistent with the planning for the area has been stalled due to water quality issues and restrictive state and regional groundwater regulations. So most development in the unincorporated portions of Alameda County are supported by on-site wastewater treatment systems or septic systems. Recent studies have shown that elevated nitrate levels in the groundwater supply are creating concerns for water quality, and that these nitrates can in some cases be traced back to long-term use of septic systems. This has led to more restrictive regulations regarding septic system development, and in turn has limited development of wine country uses as envisioned for the area. The city continues to receive inquiries from South Livermore Valley stakeholders regarding possible connection to the city's municipal sewer system. That's because connecting to the municipal system would be a significant step to addressing groundwater quality issues and regulations that are currently jeopardizing the near and long-term viability of the wine industry. In September of 2020, the City Council, at the request of South Livermore stakeholders, directed staff to make a request to Alameda County to reserve funding and also to explore actions necessary to extend sewer service to the valley. On December 8th of 2020, the Alameda County Board of Supervisors approved the use of $6.5 million to help support the connection of sewer to unincorporated Livermore. More recently, in November of 2021, the City Council appropriated funds to study and evaluate sewer alignments, technical aspects of potential sewer extension, and the potential impacts of sewer construction in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act. And most recently in May, Council reviewed draft initiative language that would amend the urban growth boundary policies and directed staff to revise the draft initiative language in response to the public comments received to clarify uncertain language or ambiguities. The proposed initiative would amend language in the South Lamar urban growth boundary policies that would allow the city to extend sanitary sewer service beyond the urban growth boundary to serve those uses that are envisioned under the city's general plan, the county's area plan, and the city's South Livermore Valley specific plan. The initiative would enable rural residential properties and existing and new uses to receive sewer service and begin to phase out the use of septic systems, but connection to the municipal system would not be required. The proposal would not change the location of the urban growth boundary either. Specifically, the initiative would amend the Livermore General Plan land use policies, which currently allow the provision of certain urban services under special circumstances and if a property meets specific criteria. As an example, the Kincannon Winery was annexed into the city in 2020, and the winery was able to connect to the city sewer system, even though the urban growth boundary did not change because the property was able to meet specific criteria. The initiative modifies this existing criteria to allow the city to provide sanitary sewer service to parcels in South Livermore, including those properties that are not immediately adjacent to the urban growth boundary or the city's municipal boundaries. Fundamentally, the intent is to provide sewer service to uses that facilitate the goals of the general plan, the county's area plan, and the city's specific plan to create a premier wine producing region and visitor destination. However, the initiative would also allow residential properties to connect if desired, as mentioned previously. Since the May council meeting and at the direction of city council, staff has met with various stakeholders to revise the initiative language and clarify areas of concern or ambiguity, and the proposed language before you this evening reflects these modifications. Here is a map of the proposed sewer project. If you can follow my cursor, this is East Avenue up here, just to orient ourselves. This is Greenville Road, Tesla Road, and Livermore Avenue. The black line represents the city's municipal boundaries, where the red dashed line represents the city's urban growth boundary. So the different colors along the rights of way represent different phases of the sewer alignment, a sewer alignment. So the first phase is shown here in yellow, would connect with East Avenue at Buena Vista, align underneath the Buena Vista Avenue roadway, and then turn to the east and run underneath the Tesla Road right of way to Greenville Road, where it would turn south and run underneath the Greenville Road right of way. Future possible phases could include extending further east beyond Greenville Road along Tesla and a westerly extension along Tesla Road and up Livermore Avenue. Also included in phase one are these little purple areas shown here under East Avenue. These are bottleneck projects that would be upsized under the East Avenue right of way to improve hydraulic flow within the sewer system. So when studying this alignment and the construction of this project, staff prepared a supplement to the South Livermore Valley specific plan EIR because, again, the specific plan is the urban complement to the area plan, and because the city is the lead agency responsible for providing municipal sewer service, which the current specific plan EIR already evaluates. So the project under CEQA, or the California Environmental Quality Act, is both the initiative and the construction of the expanded sewer infrastructure for land uses consistent with the existing land use regulation, including those county plans and county zoning. So the EIR identified potential impacts to biological resources, cultural and tribal resources, and archaeological resources, and also potential noise impacts associated with construction activities. But the EIR identifies appropriate mitigations to reduce the severity of these impacts. The supplemental EIR also evaluated the potential impacts to utilities, including the existing sewer system and water treatment plant, and concluded a less than significant impact for the project. But also the supplemental EIR acknowledges that there were significant and unavoidable impacts identified in the 1997 EIR to the wastewater treatment plant capacity. These impacts, the impacts of organics and sewage from wine production on the treatment process at the wastewater treatment plant would need to be studied further to determine whether and at what level any pre-treatment by individual users would be required. The city is currently conducting infrastructure analysis as part of a comprehensive general plan update, and will continue to do so as part of a corresponding sewer master plan update. This would help determine the types and thresholds of any necessary and future treatment plant improvements needed to support citywide wastewater treatment needs. And then finally in the EIR, because the land uses surrounding the sewer alignment are not proposed to change and could be developed under existing zoning or planning documents, there would be no new impacts associated with the sewer project under this supplemental EIR. The Planning Commission held a public hearing at the end of June to receive public comments on the supplemental EIR, and the comments are addressed in the final environmental documents that are before you this evening. But in addition, staff received numerous questions and comments regarding the construction and connection process. Staff is preparing materials, including infographics and FAQs to put on the city's website, and plan to hold neighborhood meetings to meet with interested parties later on this fall. So 2 recommendations this evening. It was brought to staff's attention earlier that there is a minor typo or a missed strike through in the initiative language that was inadvertently missed during the editing process. So on page 560 of the agenda packet, section P6BF, regarding the conservation easement requirements, there's a missed strike through. So staff's recommending that council direct staff to add the strike through to the as to portion of the statement, except as to within. And so their full statement would read, except within a delineated building envelope, because again, it's describing a conservation easement requirement. And the second recommendations include adopting a resolution. Staff's recommending council adopt a resolution certifying the supplemental environmental impact report, and adopting a resolution approving the ballot question language for the South Livermore Urban Growth Boundary Initiative with the corrections I just mentioned, and then directing staff to conduct all necessary actions to prepare materials for the November 8th, 2022 ballot. So staff is available for any questions council may have. I would like to point out we're also joined by our consultant team this evening. Darcy Kremen and Aline Mahoney from Rincon Consulting are here, and they're also available for any questions. And that concludes staff's presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. At this point, I'll open the public hearing on this item. Do we have anybody who wishes to address us?
Yes, Mayor, there are 9 requests to speak. The first request is from Mike Frederick, followed by Tracy Farhad and David Epstein. Mike Frederick, please unmute yourself.
Hi, thanks for letting me speak. I'm Mike Frederick, as you said. I'm representing the Friends of Livermore. Friends of Livermore support the proposed South Livermore Urban Growth Boundary Initiative. Members of Friends of Livermore, Gene King and Dick Schneider, have worked with members of the Tri-Valley Conservancy to provide input to the language of the initiative. The initiative will contribute to improvements in groundwater quality in South Livermore through the phase out of septic tanks. It will support local wineries and help promote agritourism. I urge you to adopt the supplementary EIR and the resolution approving the ballot question and the language for the South Livermore Urban Growth Boundary Initiative. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
Next speaker is Tracy Farhad, followed by David Epstein and Don Argula. Tracy Farhad, please unmute yourself.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, city staff, and members of the public. I am Tracy Farhad, President and CEO of Visit Tri-Valley, the destination marketing organization for the cities of Livermore, Pleasanton, Dublin, and the town of Danville. We represent 40 hotels and hundreds of hospitality businesses, annually bringing over $500 million in local and state taxes through 1.2 million visitors and supporting nearly 6,000 jobs in the Tri-Valley. So Visit Tri-Valley is in full support of adopting a supplemental EIR resolution tonight and the sewer ballot measure language presented. Preserving the unique and historic Livermore wine country, the agricultural and open spaces, both inside and just outside your city borders. It's key to preserving a major economic driver for both overnight visitation and spending. By supporting this lifeline, you are proactively supporting the next generation of high-spending, high-occupancy travelers, while also keeping your wineries, farms, restaurants, and shops alive and a chance to actually thrive. Our youth will have entry jobs that keep them in Livermore raising their families. This proposed ballot measure is a sustainable agritourism at its core message. And with proper infrastructure at hand, the wine industry can compete with other California regions. And coupled with the Livermore Valley Wine Growers Association, this highly sought after rural experience will continue to deliver for both visitors and residents alike. So thank you for embracing the future right now. And I hope to see all of you at the Taste Our Terroir event this weekend. So at your service, thank you.
The next speaker is David Epstein, followed by Don Argula and Lori Souza. David Epstein, please unmute yourself.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, and staff. My name is David Epstein, and I'm the Executive Director for the Tri-Valley Conservancy. The mission of the TVC is to promote economically sustainable vineyards and orchards and increase permanently protected, biologically diverse open spaces. The TVC was created as an agricultural land trust in 1994 as part of the implementation of the South Livermore Valley Area Plan. That plan was adopted by the Alameda County Board of Supervisors in 1993 to ensure the survival and enhancement of the century-old Livermore wine region. That plan protects and expands agriculture, and it restricts commercial and residential development adjacent to Livermore while promoting uses that enhance the recognition and image of the area as an important premium wine and agricultural region. I want to thank Andy Ross, Senior Planner for the City of Livermore Community Development Department, for the presentation this evening. The Tri-Valley Conservancy supports the City Council in certifying the supplemental EIR. And we ask that the City Council authorize the South Livermore Urban Growth Boundary Initiative to be placed on the ballot November 8th, 2022, enabling the South Livermore Sewer Extension Project. The purpose of this initiative is to protect water quality and agriculture by updating the South Livermore Urban Growth Boundary policies to allow full implementation of the South Livermore Valley Area Plan. This initiative would not change the boundaries of the urban growth boundaries or make any changes to the area plan or the Alameda County Measure D approved by county voters in 2000. This project can help improve groundwater and promote a healthy wine country while still restricting housing density. We're all working hard to ensure that the South Livermore Valley returns to the premier wine producing center it had successfully maintained in the past. This sewer line extension is a key component of supporting a vibrant, growing, and successful wine country in the South Livermore Valley. Thank you.
The next speaker is Don Argula, followed by Lori Souza and Jean King. Don Argula, please unmute yourself.
Good evening, Mayor Warner, City Council and staff and the community. I am Dawn Argula, President and CEO of the Livermore Valley Chamber of Commerce. I want to put a huge thanks to the City of Livermore for its leadership on this issue of critical importance to the sustained vitality of the Livermore Valley agricultural economy. And thank you to the Tri-Valley Conservancy for collaborating with business organizations in the region, of which the Chamber is one, to proactively bring this issue forward to the City of Livermore and to the Alameda County Board of Supervisors. The Tri-Valley Conservancy leadership has been crucial through its sponsorship of the UC Davis study, highlighting the conditions and needs of the Livermore Valley agricultural region. And it is one of the last remaining vestiges of agriculture in Alameda County, and for it to be sustainable and economically successful. The Chamber again affirms its support of extending city sewer service to the South Livermore Valley area, and it welcomes the opportunity to educate and inform businesses and Livermore voters about this important initiative. Our agricultural region contributes greatly to the economic health of the city of Livermore with its production, service, and sales of its products as a visitor destination, and it supports a great many local organizations with its products. The Chamber supports this measure. This measure presents an opportunity for Livermore and its voters to demonstrate its support and appreciation to the agricultural community, to keep agricultural lands and activities economically viable for many more generations, while protecting the groundwater basin upon which we all rely for water supply. The Chamber urges the Council's approval of the staff recommendations for this item. Thank you.
The next speaker is Lori Souza, followed by Jean King and Brandy Addington. Lori Souza, please unmute yourself.
Good evening, Mayor Warner, City Council members, and staff. I'm Lori Souza, and I currently serve as the chair of the board for the Tri-Valley Conservancy. I've been on the board for the past 7 years. I respectfully request that you accept the staff's recommendation on this item 6.3 to certify the draft supplemental environmental impact report for the South Livermore Valley Specific Plan and authorize the South Livermore Urban Growth Boundary Initiative to be placed on the November 8th, 2022 ballot, enabling the South Livermore Sewer Extension Project. I'd like to thank Andy Ross and his team for the fine work that they have done to bring this item forward for your consideration. Extending sewer services to the tourism core of unincorporated South Livermore Valley is a smart solution that will protect groundwater while making expanded wine country uses financially feasible. The extended sewer line would protect the groundwater from contamination and allow a limited expansion of wine country related businesses in the area. The land use restrictions put in place by the South Livermore Valley Area Plan and Measure D, passed 2 decades ago to protect open space, would remain in effect. The Alameda County Board of Supervisors have already set aside a significant amount of funds to construct this sewer line extension. A vibrant wine country is key to maintaining the South Livermore Valley's community character and agriculture economy. Right now, many vintners haul wastewater off-site at great expense, and new wine operations are hesitant to locate here because of the lack of wastewater treatment options. Without a healthy agriculture economy, the pressure to grow to develop open space in ways that go against the spirit of the South Livermore Valley Area Plan. Thank you.
The next speakers are Jean King, followed by Brandy Addington and Tamara Royce. Jean King, please unmute yourself.
Good evening, this is Jean King. More than a year and a half ago, at the invitation of Tri-Valley Conservancy, a stakeholders committee was formed with representatives from different organizations, and I was the representative to Friends of Livermore to discuss the possibilities of bringing a sewer line to South Livermore. Many issues, views, questions, and possibilities were explored. Issues were taken back to our representative organizations to discuss the issues. I thank TVC for working with the different stakeholders to get an initiative that both organizations can support. Michael Frederick has already voiced the support of Friends of Livermore, but I just wanted to add that I, as an individual, am also supporting this initiative. Thank you very much.
The next speakers are Brandy Addington, followed by Tamara Royce and John Marchand. Brandy Addington, please unmute yourself.
Good evening, Mayor Warner, City Council, and staff. I'm Brandy Addington, Interim Executive Director for the Livermore Valley Wine Growers Association. On behalf of our organization and its membership, I'd like to encourage you to adopt your staff's recommendation. Our mission at LVWA is to promote, protect, and preserve this beautiful award-winning wine region, and the extension of city sewer services into the South Livermore Valley as proposed is critically and vitally important to our industry and success of fulfilling our mission. We want this area to stay planted with wine grapes and to continue to produce premier wine for our customers. We also want to respect the environment and protect our groundwater. When the citizens of Livermore Valley vote yes on this initiative in November, they support both their wine country community as well as the protection of the groundwater we share. Thank you.
Next speakers are Tamara Royce, followed by John Marchand and Dick Schneider. Tamara Royce, please unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you. This is Tamara Royce. I'm the president of Friends of Open Space and Vineyards. We were formed in the 1980s as Save the Vineyards in recognition of all the pressures to develop in South Livermore. And we were involved in the implementation or the creation of the South Livermore Valley Area Plan, as well as the South Livermore Specific Plan for the city of Livermore. So we've been closely following this issue throughout the year. TVC approached us about it early on, and we were very happy to endorse the project, the whole concept, given the benefits that it will bring of improved water quality, enhancing the opportunities for the wineries, and also continuing to ensure the rural character of our South Livermore Valley area. I'm very pleased about the collaboration that's been involved with this project. Seeing the city work with the stakeholders is the kind of aspiration that we hope to see in many areas of development. And I just want to urge you again, in the wake of all these wonderful points being made by these other speakers, that please support item 6.3 staff recommendation. Thank you.
Next speakers are John Marchand, followed by Dick Schneider and Tim. John Marchand, please unmute yourself.
Mayor Werner and members of the council, I am John Marchand, and I am here to ask you to approve staff's recommendation to certify the environmental impact report and proceed with the ballot language. The California wine industry had its roots right here in the Livermore Valley. The next few years will determine whether or not this will remain a wine region. When the South Livermore Valley Area Plan was approved, it envisioned 5,000 acres of vineyards that would be necessary to be sustainable. However, we have been unable to attract the critically important mid-sized winery operations because we lack the infrastructure needed to support them. We need a wine country hotel, and I know that you have been working very hard to build one in the downtown. When the South Livermore Valley Area Plan was developed, it was envisioned that some of the infrastructure needs could be met by septic tanks, but permitting issues and concerns over groundwater contamination have precluded their use. The only way that the infrastructure needs can be met is to build a sanitary sewer down Tesla, a sewer line that would serve the needs of the wineries, but would not be used for urban development. This sewer line is a critically important piece of infrastructure that could provide the opportunity to allow the completion of the South Livermore Valley Area Plan as originally envisioned and increase the long-term viability of our historic wine region. By removing the potential organic and nitrate loading, this sewer line will also serve to protect the local groundwater quality. This is a critical point in time, and I urge you to approve placing this on the ballot and the environmental impact report. Thank you.
The next speakers are Dick Schneider, followed by Tim. Dick Schneider, please unmute yourself. Next speaker is Tim. Tim, please unmute yourself. Tim, please unmute yourself.
Hello, my name is Tim Johnston. I provided comment to the draft supplementary EIR, and these comments were basically ignored. I asked that you read through my comments and other comments and create your own opinions provided by this. It is premature to approve moving forward tonight. Hello, my name is Tim Johnston. I provided comment to the
At this time, Mayor, there are no more requests to speak.
And I was just wondering if was there a technical issue with Dick Schneider? If he did, he hasn't dropped out for some. Oh, he's back now.
Yes, Mayor, he just raised his hand. I can unmute him.
Thank you, Mayor Warner. I couldn't find the unmute button the first time. And thank you, members of the council. In May, I mentioned in my public comment that there was the draft language at that time failed to capture a subtle distinction in parcels that are under easement with the Tri-Valley Conservancy, where all buildings must go on 10% of the parcel, versus a Measure D restriction where visitor serving commercial buildings must go within that 10% area on a 2-acre development envelope. And the council directed staff to work with people who commented to try and accommodate those comments. So with the Tri-Valley Conservancy reps and myself and a couple others, we came up with a sentence for 2 subsections of Policy 6. And Andy Ross and Paul Spence met with us for half an hour or so we could explain exactly what this sentence would do. And that sentence is now in both subsections of the initiative. So we're very happy that the initiative language is consistent both with the Tri-Valley Conservancy easement requirements as well as Measure D. So I do hope that you put this on the ballot and the voters approve it. Thank you.
Mayor, at this time, there are no more requests to speak.
Okay, at this point, I'll close the public hearing on the item, bring it back to the council for deliberation. Councilmember Kick.
Can staff just re-clarify the votes needed on the ballot if this were to proceed to the ballot to be a win?
Mr. City Attorney, do we have an answer?
Yes, I do. This is Jason Collier, City Attorney. For this measure to pass, it would be 50% of the voters voting in favor of it, +1. And
Okay,
when this matter returns to you at your next meeting, the resolution will articulate that to place it on the ballot.
Thank you.
Any other council members wish to? Councilmember Monroe.
Just want to really appreciate the work done by staff and the collaborative nature. We don't always get collaboration. It's one of the things I really love when Livermore really works hard to make that happen. City of Livermore, I really appreciate that this is an opportunity to see that go forward to do something wonderful for everyone in this area. I also really appreciate that it's being done for infrastructure and for sewage, which is, of course, really necessary for everybody's public health. Thank you. And at the point that it's possible, I'm happy to make the motion or not.
Let's see if there's anyone else who wishes to comment on council. Okay, I'll go ahead and I also want to thank staff for a lot of good work and it's a quality EIR. And I want to thank all the stakeholders for working together to craft such a good ballot initiative. I mean, not only the initiative, but in addition, as we heard tonight, there were many, I'll say, substantive issues, but very arcane for most of us. And both sides worked through them very well. We had a similar effort, well, not similar, but there was another effort several years ago when we brought Concannon in. And I remember working with some of the stakeholders that presented tonight, and we were able to very, rationally get to an answer that worked. And I see what was done here is just incredible, given all of the points of view and all the little intricacies. So I thank you again to all the stakeholders and staff for working so hard to craft such a good ballot initiative. based on a very thorough understanding of what's needed. So for myself, I support staff recommendations. So I'll bring it back to Councilmember Monroe for a motion.
So I would like to move both staff recommendations, both the one that the corrective one and the substantive one.
Okay, and I'll second that. Any further discussion? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Carling,
Aye.
Councilmember Kick,
Aye.
Councilmember Monroe,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bonanno,
Aye.
Mayor Warner.
Aye, passes unanimously. Good work on everybody's part, so thank you. We're now on to item 7.1. It's not as complicated as we just went through. It's approval of our meeting calendar. Can we have the staff presentation, please?
Yes, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, this is once again your City Manager, Mariana Marasheva, and item 7.1 will be presented by our City Clerk, Marie Weber. Ms. Weber?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. Each year, in accordance with the City Council Rules of Procedure, the City Council approves an annual calendar for regular meetings and workshops in the coming year. Regular meetings are scheduled on the second and fourth Monday of each month. Workshop meetings are scheduled on the third Monday of each month and only used when needed. No meetings are scheduled on legal holidays, and in keeping with past practice, only one meeting is scheduled during the months of August and December. The August meeting is traditionally then canceled due to a lack of pressing business. Throughout the year, special meetings and workshops may be called by the mayor or a majority of council members as needed. The City Council may also amend the regular meeting schedule when necessary. Tonight, staff recommends the City Council approve the 2023 annual calendar, and with that, I'm available for questions.
Thank you. I'll open the public comment. Anybody wish to address us on this item?
Mayor, no comments have been received.
Okay, I'll close the public comment, bring it back to the council for deliberation. Anybody want more meetings? So how about, I'll move, I see Councilmember Carling, go ahead.
I was going to move staff recommendation for the calendar.
Great, and I'll second it. Can we have I don't see any further comments. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Carling,
Aye.
Councilmember Kick. Aye. Councilmember Monroe,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bonanno,
Aye.
Mayor Warner.
Aye. So that passes unanimously. We're on to 7.2, designation of voting delegate and alternates for the 2022 League of California Cities annual business meeting. We have staff presentation, please.
Yes, good evening, Mayor Warner, members of the City Council. This is Mariana Marasheva, your City Manager, and item 7.2 is going to be presented by Marie Weber, our City Clerk. Ms. Weber?
Good evening again, Honorable Mayor and council members. Each year, the League of California Cities holds an annual business meeting where League membership considers and takes action on resolutions that establish League policy. The League's annual conference is scheduled for September 9th, 7th through 9th of this year at the Long Beach Convention Center, including the annual business meeting, which takes place on September 9th. In order to vote during the business meeting, the City Council must designate a voting delegate and up to 2 alternates. The voting delegate and alternates must be registered to attend either the full conference or September 9th only. Currently, council members Carling and Monroe plan to attend the conference. Tonight, staff recommends the City Council appoint 1 voting delegate and up to 2 alternates to represent the city at the 2022 League of California Cities annual business meeting. And with that, I'm available for questions.
Open public comment. Anybody wish to address us on this item?
Mayor, no comments have been received.
Close it, bring it back to the council for deliberation. Have you guys decided who wants to be what?
I thought Tris was the delegate.
I'm fine with that. We discussed it. I can't remember what we decided, but I think, that works for me.
We decided you were the delegate.
Good news. All right, I'm the delegate, you're the alternate.
Okay. And do we need another alternate? Anybody else going to go to the meeting that wants to be another alternate? Seeing none, I'll move for Councilmember Monroe to be the delegate and Councilmember Carling to be the alternate.
Second.
Okay. Moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Carling,
Aye.
Councilmember Kick,
Aye.
Councilmember Monroe,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bonanno,
Aye.
Mayor Warner.
Aye, passes unanimously. Have a good time and let us know how it goes.
We will.
Great. Okay, we're on to item 8.0, council committee reports, matters initiated by the city manager, city attorney, staff, and council members. I'll start with Councilmember Kick.
I have no matters. And I believe I have nothing else to report. And I can confirm that in just a second, if something would load. Oh, I went to the fireworks. That was fun. That's what I have to report. It was a good time. The end. Thank you.
Good. Okay, let's see, who's at Councilmember Monroe? Oh, Carling. I guess it's Carling, right? Yeah.
Normally it has been me. Yeah. So I didn't have any board meetings since my name was missing from the council reports, but I did have some other things, the climate meeting with Vice Mayor. I attended the I Street garage ribbon cutting with several of my colleagues that you'll hear from. Also did the farmers, that was on the 7th. Also did the farmers market later that afternoon. On the 8th, I attended an ITV meeting where ITV Innovation Tri-Valley was hosting a number of new folks in positions within the Tri-Valley. And so our new city manager was there, of course, the new city manager from Pleasanton, and several other people that are in notable organizations throughout the Tri-Valley were there. Just sort of a get to know each other and enjoy each other's company for a little bit. I also went to the fireworks. They're spectacular. That's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Monroe.
So what I love about going after Councilmember Carling is, I can just say ditto and it works. I did all these things. I reported on all the same things. I would really strongly echo the Innovation Tri-Valley event. That was a really, really well done, informative and useful opportunity, even though it was early in the morning in a place that was hard to find. But it was well worth the effort. It was really, really well done. In addition, there was a informative meeting on power procurement that I attended with EBCE. Those things are listed in my report out as part of the supplemental report. I don't have any matters initiated, but I did want to note a couple of things that I thought were interesting. One is I'm really appreciating seeing the media posting, the social media postings on the various holidays, the various information that's a little broader and more inclusive than we've had in the past. Most recently, Eid Mubarak was mentioned, but that hasn't been the only one. There have been substantial upticks, increase in those postings, and I'm appreciative of them. So that was one thing. And then the second thing is something that is very much outside the scope of the city, but I think worth mentioning, and that is, and you'll see where I'm going with this in a minute, which is that we live in a city, we work in a city, we play in a city, we park in a city. But outside, very far outside, we now have the first pictures from the Webb Space Telescope, and they're spectacular. And they sort of center us where we are in the universe. At the other end, of course, just a few weeks ago, we marked the beginning, the opening of Livermorium Park, which takes us to the very far other end of space and time and size. And I just thought it was worth, for a moment, contemplating where we sit as a city between the galaxy and the atom. And actually, that's really all I have to say. With that, I will pass it on to the next, to the Vice Mayor.
Okay, Vice Mayor Bonanno.
Yeah, I would just like to mention two quick things. One is I attended just a beautiful ceremony at the Shiva Vishnu Hindu temple on the 6th last week. I won't do the title, the Hindu name of the celebration justice, so I won't try, but it's an event that they do every 12 years, and it was just beautifully done. I've gone to several events there and just really appreciate that organization's sense of community and their openness and their inviting just everyone in, and the temple is just beautiful. It was my first time inside the temple, and what they're doing there is just spectacular, and just wanted to appreciate that. And also just on the I Street Garage ribbon cutting, two things. One, thank you to the Altamont Cruisers for lending us those spectacular classic and a couple modern cars and a couple real classics. The Cobra, I think, was the hit of the ribbon cutting, and that was a lot of fun. That was really a lot of fun to be part of that. And I think that Marianne Lobo and others, city staff, really get a lot of credit for having organized really such a great event. It was just fun, and we need fun right now. We need lots of fun, as much as we can get. So I also wanted to appreciate staff for pulling that project off. They've got their hands full with many of these type projects. We're starting to see them come to completion, which I just think is just awesome. Livermorium Plaza, I Street Garage, we're going to be seeing other completions of streetscapes and other projects in town. I just think it's a real testament to their ability to pull off these projects, and all the construction teams and the contractors that all came together to make that project. I thought Mayor Warner did a great job with his remarks that day, sort of summarizing the challenges of that project. And when you look at it, it just looks like it was meant to be exactly there. And it's also nice to see that we have electronic readouts now that people can, and an app coming that we can find places to park before we even get in our car. So thanks to all for that. And I think that wraps it for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think your comments tonight were really great on the I Street Garage. The one thing I would add, just point out that the number one priority of our community has been parking, and that this is the first realization of our commitment to that. And it's the allows us to now more easily proceed with all the other pieces that are going to be coming online. So this was, we're glad we have that garage. We delayed it a little bit as we saw what was happening with COVID. It's now online, and I think we'll really understand how important it is as the rest of our community really recovers from the pandemic and the other uses go in. So I would just mention that. So at this point, that's all I have to report out. I will move to adjournment. Before doing so, I want to say that Livermore recently lost one of our longtime friends and goodwill ambassadors. And I'm sorry to say that John Ambrosino passed away last month. And John and his wife, Lori, were graduates of our Citizens Police Academy, and both were frequently seen volunteering at city events. And last saw John manning the booth at Livermore Downtown Street Fest, and he will be missed. So it's with gratitude that I adjourn this meeting in honor and memory of John Ambrosino to a city council meeting on July 25th, 2022 at 7 p.m. Good night.
Good night.
Night all.
Good night, everyone.